this is Jimmy Fallon. So for our egg pig game, the rules is that each person gets a partner by drawing straws. Same size straws go together. There are 5 raw eggs, 7 boiled. Take turns picking the eggs going clockwise and smashing them on your partner's forehead. Whoever has the least amount of eggs smashed on them wins.
The egg pig version of the egg Russian roulette is similar to the conditional egg roulette game. When a person takes an egg to throw against another person's forehead, the probability changes every time. So you either get a higher or lower chance of getting a raw egg. The egg pig game is conditional probability. If the first person throws a boiled egg at their partner, which has a probability of raw to the first round, which equals 5/12, since we're 5 raw eggs and there were 12 eggs in total. Then the probability of the second person getting a raw egg, given that the first person got a boiled egg, his probability of getting a raw egg to the second, given a raw egg to the second.
You say 4 times.
Then if the second person gets a raw egg, the chance of the third person getting a raw is the probability of raw given the second is 4 times.
Alright, so the rules for the independent probability. There are 5 raw eggs and 7 boiled. Everyone picks 2 eggs at the same time. On the count of 3, everyone smacks their heads against their heads. Everyone would have the same probability of choosing an egg because it's completely random and there was no event beforehand. So the probability of getting a raw egg is 5 out of 12, and the probability of getting a boiled egg is 7 out of 12. Alright.
So for the rules for conditional probability that we played, each player rolls a die to decide order of playing. Each player goes one at a time, clockwise, picking 1 egg and smashing it on their head. There are 5 raw eggs and 7 boiled. If a raw egg gets smashed on your head, you're out of the game. And if a hard-boiled egg is smashed, you get to stay for the next round. And the last person standing is the winner and crowned the egg roulette champion.
So our probability for the game, the tree diagram shows one of the possible scenarios for the game. It shows a person picking all boiled eggs and then end up picking a raw. Our game did not end up playing out this way, and we ended up getting boiled eggs, then raw eggs, then boiled eggs again. The event of getting a boiled egg and the event of getting a raw egg are complements of each other, and the probability for our game to go exactly the way it did was 5 out of 9,856.
Here's our video. Do you want us to play?
Watch the video at the end of the presentation.
At the end, alright.
Okay, so for mine, this is the way it went for me. And I went first, and since there's no previous event, my probability for getting a roll was 5 out of 12, and I felt pretty good because, I had a decent chance of getting a boiled, and I got a boiled. Then the next time, and it was turn 7, I had a half and half chance. And I was uncertain since it was 50-50, and this was conditional since there were previous events, and I ended up pretty lucky because I got a boiled. And then on turn 11, I also had a half chance, but this time there were only 2 eggs left, so it was kind of harder to pick. And I was extremely uncertain, and I ended up getting a raw egg anyway.
So when playing egg roulette, I went second to last or 5th. I had both a good and bad probability of picking a hard-boiled egg. For my first turn, I had a 37.5% chance of picking a raw egg and a 62.5% chance of picking a hard-boiled egg. I picked a hard-boiled egg for my first pick. For my second pick, my probability of picking a raw egg increased, and then I had a 75% chance of picking a raw egg and only 25% chance of getting a hard-boiled egg. I picked a raw egg, I lost, and the game was over. My chances of picking a hard-boiled egg could have been better if I would have picked my eggs earlier. We all rolled the die to see who would go first and last. I picked second to last, therefore giving me a decreased chance of picking a hard-boiled egg for the second round. So my probability of raw given the first round was 3/8, and my probability of a raw given the second round was 3/4.
I had two turns in the conditional egg Russian roulette game, and my odds weren't too bad. On my first turn, I had a 3 out of 7 chance of getting a raw egg, which isn't that great, but I did manage to pick a boiled egg. And on my second turn, I had a 2 out of 3 chance of getting a raw egg, which was even worse than the first turn. On that turn, I did end up getting a raw egg. So on my first turn, the probability of me getting a raw egg was 3/7, and on my second turn, the probability of getting a raw egg was 2/3.
For my first turn, I felt okay about it because I had a probability of getting a raw egg was 45% chance, so it's still more than half. And I managed to pick a boiled egg, so that was good. And then after 2 people chose raw eggs and 3 chose boiled, my probability went way up of getting a raw egg with with a 60% chance of picking one. I managed to pick a boiled egg again. And keeping myself in the game, with there only 4 people and 4 eggs left, 3 of which were raw and 1 was boiled. Everyone before me managed to pick a raw egg, and I was left with a boiled, giving me a 0% chance of picking a boiled egg on the last turn. So my probability for picking a raw for given the first round was 5 out of 11, and the probability of picking a raw in my second round was 3/5, and then my probability of getting a raw given the third round was 0 out of 12.
My first and only turn, I was pretty confident. I only had a 44% chance of getting a raw egg, which I felt pretty good about. I was wrong, and then I was out.
I went right before Justin, and I had a 50-50 chance of getting a raw or boiled egg. I still tried to stay positive about it, but it turned out to be raw, and I was out of the game for my first turn as well. So my probability was 5 out of 10.
Let's look at the last slide.
These are the probabilities of everyone getting a raw egg.
So looking at those probabilities, who was the luckiest?
Chloe, of course.
Chloe, absolutely. And who was the most unlucky one?
Gavin. Well, Gavin had the least or the most chance to get a raw egg. His was kind of bad. Shane's was pretty bad too.
Yeah.
Were there any of them that kind of defied the rule of probability that you had expected? Like you had a better chance of getting boiled, but you ended up with raw?
Me.
Yeah, just Justin.
Justin. So he really was probably the most unlucky because he had the odds in his favor.
Yeah.
So don't play the lottery because you're just an unlucky.
All right, so now let's go back and watch the video. And you guys are all welcome to sit down for that part so you can all enjoy it.
Do you have to keep video on there?
So what?
I want $4
Chloe, the lights.
Oh, you want me to
Oh,
Can I stop it though?